Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Now, there's a mouthful you probably don't shout at parties, unless you're the kind of person who also alphabetizes your supplements. But tucked inside that biochemical tongue twister is a very juicy promise. More NAD+, more life. Or at least, more energetic mitochondria that don't sputter out like a lawnmower running on fumes. For years, niacin, the classic B3 vitamin, carried the torch as the go-to NAD+ precursor. But recently, some flashier cousins have stepped into the spotlight, and they come bearing gifts: faster metabolic rewiring, better cardiovascular profiles, and possibly, just maybe, a ticket to the Aging Gracefully VIP lounge. Welcome to the world of nicotinamide riboside, NR, and nicotinamide mononucleotide, NMN, where molecular rejuvenation feels oddly trendy. Now, before we all get too excited and start planning our 150th birthday parties, let's step back and look at what's really going on here. NAD+ isn't some mystical elixir brewed by biohacker wizards in Iceland, although that does sound like a fun documentary. It's a coenzyme found in every cell, involved in hundreds of metabolic processes, especially those tied to energy production and cellular repair. In youth, we've got NAD+ to spare. But as we age, our cellular wallets start to look a little thin. Declining NAD+ levels have been linked to everything from sluggish mitochondria and increased DNA damage to inflammation, insulin resistance, and that slow, creeping feeling that you might start enjoying documentaries about World War II. Enter the precursors, NR and NMN, designed to top off our cellular NAD+ tanks without the niacin flush that makes you feel like your face has caught fire after sipping hot sauce. Unlike plain niacin, nicotinic acid, which has been linked in high doses to unwanted side effects and a paradoxical increase in all-cause mortality in certain populations, NR and NMN offer a stealthier, smoother ride into the bloodstream. Once inside, they're converted into NAD+ through different enzymatic detours, eventually landing in the metabolic fast lane. What's particularly charming about these molecules is their apparent ability to target some of the root mechanisms of aging, not just the symptoms. Animal studies have shown that NR and NMN supplementation can enhance mitochondrial function, increase endurance, improve insulin sensitivity, and even reverse age-related arterial stiffness, which, let's be honest, sounds a lot like upgrading your circulatory system from a rusty garden hose to a high-performance fire hydrant. Cardiovascular benefits appear especially promising: improved endothelial function, lower blood pressure in older adults, and a reduction in inflammatory markers that are often precursors to more serious metabolic derailments. And while we're at it, let's not forget about the Sirtuins, those calorie restriction-activated guardian angels of genomic integrity. NAD+ is their lifeblood. Without adequate NAD+, these longevity-associated enzymes are like overworked librarians with no coffee, tired, grumpy, and prone to letting genomic chaos slip by unnoticed. Restoring NAD+ gives them the jolt they need to keep DNA tidy and inflammation in check. This, in theory, helps preserve cellular health and slow the degenerative march toward age-related diseases. Which is great because nobody wants to go gently into that good night when there's a possibility you could instead skip into it wearing compression socks and a blood glucose monitor. Of course, the real intrigue comes when we start mixing these effects with personalized nutrition. Because here's the plot twist: your NAD+ response isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. Depending on your age, genetics, metabolic state, and how many energy drinks you've replaced with mushroom coffee, your body's ability to process and utilize NAD+ precursors may vary wildly. Some people may metabolize NMN into NAD+ efficiently and get a strong mitochondrial kick. Others might need higher doses or additional cofactors like magnesium, B2, or tryptophan to see real benefits. That's where personalized dietary strategies shine, not in giving everyone a handful of capsules and hoping for the best, but in tailoring interventions based on individual nutrient profiles, inflammatory markers, and metabolic fingerprints. It's precision aging, basically, turning what used to be a chaotic, guesswork-driven descent into entropy into a customizable health plan that you can monitor on an app between your cold plunge and infrared sauna sessions. And while the science is still catching up, with more human trials needed to verify what rodent longevity whispers into our ears, the early signs are encouraging. NR and NMN aren't miracle pills, but they're also not snake oil. They're more like molecular maintenance workers. They don't give you superpowers, but they might patch up the machinery enough to keep you humming into your 90s with a little more pep in your step and a little less creak in your joints. In the end, it's not about escaping death. It's about extending vitality, giving more years to your life, and more life to your years. And if that means popping an NR capsule with your morning espresso while muttering sweet nothings to your mitochondria, then by all means, get cozy with your coenzymes. Because while aging may be inevitable, falling apart doesn't have to be.